Hello, everyone. I know it's been a long time since I did an in-depth update, and that's what I fully intend to do today. The reason I haven't been doing an in-depth update is because I've been pretty much censored while staying at the union, and then my channel was found out. So I couldn't tell anything that was the truth. That was the truth. But things have changed. And I'll begin my update now. So, about 2 months ago, I was doing my surveys, and I got this thing that said download FanDuel and try a free 3 spins on the roulette wheel. So I downloaded it. I got 75 cents for doing it. And I won like 45 cents on the roulette wheel. So they give you 3 free spins every single day. So I did it until I got to like $2. And then I went and I played some blackjack. And I played the blackjack in a combination of playing blackjack and spinning the wheel, not spending any of my own money, just their promo money. Until I finally won $8 to cash out. You have to get to $8 in your account before you can get any cash out. And I got a check sent to me. Forgot all about it because it takes an unbelievably long time to get that check. But then I guess it was a week ago, close to a week, maybe 5 days, that the check finally arrived. And I got called into the pastor's office. And I can see where they think this was gambling because they didn't bother to research any more in depth. And I explained to them that I didn't waste any of my money. It was completely promotional. And he gave me this big long lecture about the sin of gambling. Well, the only sin in gambling is becoming in debt and becoming servitude to that debt and the need for more money. Once again, didn't waste any of my own money. So I was called every name from rebellious to I smelt bad. And trust me, after working 5 hours in a hot box, a steam hot box, washing dishes, yeah, sometimes I do smell bad. I'm not going to hide the fact. Oh, did I say working? I meant volunteering because I wasn't given anything. And you're going to say, well, you live there and everything, you should work. Yeah, I understand that. But the thing is, everybody else that does it gets paid, but not me. So we're coming down to the time when it's the most important for me that I need to be filing motions for court so I can go back home and trying to regain some of my loss for a house that I know is going to be completely cleaned out. I'll be lucky if there's even carpet left on the floor, from what my neighbors have told me. So my punishment was I'm not allowed access to the internet or my phones, except for 2 hours a day. And in the beginning, he didn't even want to do that. Everybody in that place has a phone, which they mostly use for pornography and ordering food. So, I'm told that, so then I get into a big argument where I'm degraded, where first I'm being told I'm too rebellious and I always want to argue about theology. And I tell him, yes, I argue because I'm searching for the truth. And then in the next breath, he'll say, I'm just giving the answers he wants to hear. And I finally broke down my politeness, and I couldn't take it anymore. I was getting it from two sides. It was like they were playing tennis and I was the ball. One would hit me with an insult, send me to the other side, and the other one would hit me with an insult. And not passive aggressive insults either. Flat out insults. I had a man whose main career choice was selling frozen food to grocery stores until he realized how much more profitable it is to get into the God game. Tell me that I was an underachiever, that I spent my whole life at my mother's apron strings, which, if you really know me or watch my videos, you'd know I left home, finished high school when I was 17. Never went back until it was time to care for my mother as she was dying. And never accomplished anything really with my life. I mean, forget being an officer in the Navy and finishing college and something I never really got into because I see it as a failure, being 13 credit hours away from having a master's degree in electrostatic physics. But this doesn't matter. Oh, and my greatest accomplishment, having my child go to an elite school. But I was an underachiever. See, because they have a rehearsed speech, and they hit you with so many insults that one of them's bound to offend you and to get you worked up. So they said they would have a conference about it. So I left the room for like 10 minutes, went back, came back, said how good and gracious they would be to let me have my phone for 2 hours a day and let me go to the library for 1 hour a day to use the legal library and to write petitions. Well, this could be done. Except the thing is, he makes the time when I'm down slaving in the kitchen. And the only time I'm not slaving in the kitchen is when I'm off working at Sheets's. So pretty much, he's just patronizing me. So I just have had enough of it, and I graciously smiled, and the next day I left. Yeah, that's right, I left the union. I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't handle this soap opera that goes on there between the people staying there, spreading rumors. It's like women, and it's just human nature, because these men have nothing to do. They sit in front of a television set 14 hours a day, work sitting at a desk 8 hours a day, and then they sleep. That includes their TV time. So what do? They get bored, they spread rumors. And I just couldn't take it anymore. They have this new guy there. His name is Ghoulia. But everybody calls him Gaia because he was too embarrassed to admit he had a woman's name. He came to America when he was 5 years old. He's from Romania. And they know him very well at the mission because he went into their program 2 times for meth addiction, and 2 times he failed. So he gets involved with this Baptist preacher in another small town around here, and a year later he's completely transformed. And they let him do everything that he wants. He has a key to everything. Well, he got me a little bit involved in feeding the outside people, the homeless people. And I was told to show him around where they hang out at. until one day he disappeared for 40 minutes and didn't come back. And then after that, didn't sleep for 4 days. So he's clearly back on drugs, and they're just setting themselves up for a big failure. Because this kid who has no education, and even though he's been in America for a long time, can't speak that well. It's not because he's foreign, it's because he's stupid. It's because he does everything they tell him to. And this other preacher in this other town is probably on the board of directors. As a matter of fact, I know he's on the board of directors. So, back to my story. So, all these people were bored, and then 3 other people who are just entering, including me, do all the work, do all the lifting. And there I am sometimes, hardly being able to walk, carrying stuff down into the basement, mopping floors, and, cleaning tables, and of course, the soul-breaking job of washing dishes after 100 people every single meal. Well, no, not every single meal. Let's say like 60 people every single meal, at least. So I left. I mean, this is too crucial of a time. I went and asked my friend Michael Kane if I could stay with him. And I'm hoping to get a bed in the other homeless shelter. I only have like 45 days left before I have to go back to my home and start taking care of all this stuff. And I can only stay with my friend for no more than 10 days. That's just the rules in his apartment. And, I hate to do this, but I'm begging you people, now more than ever. I'm not trying to do any project for homeless people. I'm not trying to get them a motel room when it's cold. I really need your help, more than ever. So if you could please be kind enough to make a donation, I would greatly appreciate it. Oh, and back to my story. Everybody has quit there. The woman's director quit, and that's an odd story. Now, this is an interesting story. So this woman's director, I won't use her name because I respect her, and she's a high energy, funny person. She turned in her 2 weeks resignation because her father cannot care for himself anymore, and they begged her to stay. So basically, they have a woman that works in the kitchen, not as a cook, just a server. They cook the meals for her, and all she does is serve. Well, she can't even do that. So this woman's director works in the kitchen serving, while this other woman sits on a stool. And they're complaining about costs and everything. But they're basically paying $25 an hour for 2 people to do the job of 1 person. Yes, I'm smoking again. My nerves are shot. So they're basically paying $25 an hour for 1 server, except it's 2 people. But they're, they cry that they're broke all the time. So then this woman, finally, her father's in terrible health. And, she would like to stay and help, but she just can't do it. She's got to take care of her father. Her father's like in his 80s. I met the man. He has terrible osteoporosis, and I think dementia's got him, from what she says. And she just says, I have to quit, or you have to do something with my hours. You would have to put me in during business hours so I could get a nurse to come in and take care of him. So the director says, no, we can't do that. And she says, well, then I have to quit. And here's my 2 weeks. And he turns to her and looks at her and says, now, this sounds innocent, but if you stop and think about it, and think about what he said, how hurtful this is, he tells her, you can leave now. We don't need your 2 weeks. And so she left. So if you could please help me, please, I'm begging you. I'm desperate now because I'm like really close to probably having to sleep out of doors. If you could please help me, I'd graciously appreciate it. I only have till the 22nd of September. And then I can get this thing done with my house. Or even if I fail at that, I can move on with my life. I can go someplace else. Maybe leave this country. I'd graciously appreciate that. And the first thing I definitely need is to get my identification. I mean, I'll take the blame for that. It was my fault. I never really needed it, but I knew sooner or later I'd have to have it. And that's not a cheap process. To get a birth certificate, social security card, proof of address, and then your identification. You can check VeriSign to see how much a birth certificate is. It's not cheap. So, thank you for everything, and thank you for being, over this year's time, a big part of my life. Something that was my rock and my therapy at the same time. I appreciate each and every one of you, the trolls, the kind people, the people that give me the harsh truth, and I even appreciate Josh Anderson, because if he's nothing, he's funny. So everybody take care, and I hope you're doing well. Please help.